Hello everyone, it's Oda. So today I'm going to talk about a very beneficial information for business English. I think everyone is surprised to see the title. What is English that you can use for work? I assume that you need to be the top level of using English. Don't worry, that's not true. People who are studying English every day using vocabulary books, people who are studying using grammar books, people studying for TOEIC at the first step, you'll never be able to speak English, unfortunately. If your goal is to speak English, this is very inefficient way because you already have enough knowledge to handle business English. Please remember, getting more difficult knowledge, this doesn't help anymore. Now here is a question. Which of the following vocabulary is necessary to cover business English? 1,700, 3,200, 7,000. According to the business service list, 1,700 words cover 97% of business English. More specifically, we learn about 1,500 words during junior high school and 3,000 words during high school. If you already cover 97% of business English with the junior high school or high school level, don't you think that you can already do business English? Now, I'm gonna ask you a very practical question. You are in charge of hiring new employees at your company. Your boss asked you about the current status of ongoing hiring process. Please report the following business progress in English. How was it? Was it quite difficult? You may have struggled to express these words. Of course, if I was a student, I wouldn't be able to speak well when I faced this business situation. But after watching this video to the end, you'll be able to do this business report in English without any difficulties with knowledge you already have. I really want to emphasize that business English is to efficiently use the 1,500 words that you already learned in junior high school and 3,000 words that you already learned in high school. I think everyone's like, I want to move and work abroad, I want to be a top-level international business person and earn a lot of money. I guess many of you have bought many textbooks and expensive learning materials, and then you're like, I can't remember at all. In other words, aren't you working hard and struggling with English without any results? I was also like you. If I didn't know what I'm going to share with you today, I wouldn't be able to work in Singapore. I wouldn't be able to work in an international company. When I was a high school student, I always failed English tests. At that time, I used to have vocabulary tests at all classes. I used to use Sokudoku Etango, Duo, etc. and I got always failing score at all the mini tests. I never exceeded even the average score, so I really understand how you feel. However, just following what I'm going to show today, your English will definitely improve. To be more precise, you'll improve your conversational skill with your existing knowledge, and you will at the level that will allow you to work abroad or work for an international company. I need to learn a difficult vocabulary. I need to catch up with university level English. I need to understand difficult grammar. You will no longer suffer from these wrong goals. I have actually overcome business English from the bottom. I experienced international working environment and my income has increased to 6 times in 4 years. I also know many people around me who were not good at English, but they got to work abroad and they got to work for an international company. Of course, it also depends on their business skill, but they overcome English problems as well. I'm gonna share the tips that I found through my experience and how to get an international working environment. By the way, don't forget to subscribe my channel now. There will be more beneficial contents here. Okay, let's get down to today's topic. First of all, I want to make a conclusion. If you want to work in an international environment, don't study English. I know you're like, what? What is this guy talking about? How can you work abroad without studying English? Of course, it's better to have large vocabulary. Pronunciation and listening skill must be high level. I understand, but this is a big mistake. 1,700 words of vocabulary can cover 97% of business English. And you already learned 1,500 words during junior high school and 3,000 words during high school. The reason why you struggle with business English is because you can't use the vocabulary you already know. From now, I'm gonna dive into how to leverage your existing knowledge at junior high and high school level. The first point is paraphrase with simple words. I've already told you this twice in this video. Your existing vocabulary can cover business English. You'll be able to paraphrase with simple words, even in difficult sentences. Okay, so now let's go to practice. How was it? The answer would be, now I'm going to present my sales strategy for this quarter. But we can use way more easier words. Let's use these words for instance. The meaning is exactly the same. Now I'm going to talk about my sales plan for 3 months. What do you think? This is completely junior high school level. By the way, we learned the grammar be going in the second year of junior high school. Okay, so let's practice one more. The answer would be, please give me your proposal from a management perspective. I guess there are some of you who didn't know these words, but how about saying it like this? I can say that they are same meaning even though we use very simple words. The really important point is to use simple words. I experienced to work as an expat and to work for an international company, although when I can't find the right words, I always replace with simple words like this. The second point is use simple sentence structure. There are two important points here. The first is don't use be verb. Basically, when you use be verb in business sentences, your sentence is gonna be more messy. Okay, so let me give you an example. This will make you understand this point. Please try to translate this sentence into English. When we do 直訳, this is gonna be Toyota's sales volume in 2022 was 10 million units. Don't you think the subject is long? Let's rephrase it as follows. Toyota sold 10 million units in 2022. This is a very easy sentence, isn't it? Here's one more exercise. Please try to translate the following sentence into English. The 直訳 is gonna be the country that consumes electricity the most in the world is China. Let's make the structure more easier like this. China uses electricity the most in the world. When you use be verb to express blah blah is blah blah, you have to create meaning blocks both before and after the be verb, which makes the sentence longer. Now you understand why we shouldn't be verb as possible. Did you know that Japanese is a language spoken in the passive voice, while English is spoken in the active voice? That's why Japanese people tend to sentences difficult to understand. Please keep this Japanese grammatical habits in your brain. Using the active voice as much as possible, your sentences will be very simple and very easy to understand. Okay, so let's go to practice. Please translate this sentence. What do you think? Was it a little bit difficult? I'm sure it should be easier if you rephrase it like this. Then it's gonna be like this. My customer pointed out our service quality. It's very simple, isn't it? English basically focuses on the subject performing the action. Only when the subject performing the action is unclear, you can use passive voice. However, it may be still difficult for you to pronounce English sentences as smoothly as I'm speaking now. Besides, listening may be also difficult. The last point today is you can listen because you can pronounce. I guess pronunciation and speaking is the last practice after studying vocabulary and grammar. Anyway, have you practiced pronunciation in the first place? I think it's wrong that you can listen when you get used to it. As long as your brain cannot recognize sound, there's no way that you can understand the sound no matter how many times you listen. There are many people who recommend shadowing, although I don't recommend. Besides, all public education doesn't teach pronunciation, so that most people have not learned pronunciation. There are so many things that I want to say to those who have not learned pronunciation, although I'm gonna focus on two things. The first is liaison. We Japanese people recognize words by separating each word. I also still do this. However, there are many cases that multiple words are linked in English. Let's look at this sentence for instance. I have an appointment at Apple office tomorrow. Japanese people would pronounce like, I have an appointment at Apple office tomorrow. But when I pronounce this sentence, I feel like this. We call this linking phenomenon liaison. We pronounce a phrase linking some words. There's some rules also. At first, you can practice consonant and vowel patterns. When the last sound is consonant and the next word begins with a vowel, liaison basically occurs. In the case of previous example, you can practice this order. You start to practice an appointment at first. There's a sound after n sound, so the sound is like na sound after linkage. And the next, you can practice have an appointment. The V sound for have and the R sound for an are linked together, so that sound is gonna be the, and then add appointment after that. Since we have already linked 3 words, so I think it's very difficult. So this sentence at Apple is also linked, so this is gonna be very difficult. The exercise is very simple. Pick any sentence from a vocabulary book that has consonant and a vowel block. First, pronounce only 2 words, and then pronounce the 3 words. Once you have done, pronounce all one sentence. The trick is to pronounce prepositions very weakly. If you pronounce the prepositions with the same volume, it may be so difficult to pronounce. Please practice this with as many words as you can from your vocabulary book. And second, if you make pronunciation mistake with more than 2 syllables, people cannot get your word. I've never seen any person who says this, so I'm pretty sure this is really new to you. Do you have experience that your pronunciation doesn't work no matter how many times you pronounce? In fact, there are cases that people can understand you even if you pronounce it incorrectly, and there are also cases that people don't understand you. For instance, we already know that Japanese people cannot pronounce th sound. However, if you pronounce thank you for thank you, people 100% understand you. If you pronounce raito as right, people also understand you. Even if you cannot pronounce R and L sound, don't worry. For instance, when you say blueberry, people understand it as blueberry. I found the point that we Japanese people should pay attention to. If you say this word aurora 100 times, but no one will get it. Let me explain. This word consists of 3 syllables, but since we cannot pronounce the R sound, 2 syllables out of 3 are wrong. If 2 pronunciations out of 3 are different, well, of course it's gonna be kinda impossible to recognize the word. Of course I know it's really hard to get perfect pronunciation for all words. My pronunciation is also not perfect at all. So when I face a lot of difficult sounds, I always pay attention to only some difficult pronunciation for Japanese people. I've listed here about the difficult pronunciation for Japanese people. Basically, as long as you can pronounce these sounds on the list at a certain level, your pronunciation is ready. There are so many articles on the internet about how to pronounce each of them in the list. Just practice and do self-learning. Now watching this video to the end, I'm sure you understand why even someone with 0 English skill like me could succeed in an international business environment. Let me go back to the story. If you want to achieve a goal, saying technically speaking business English, you don't need to increase your vocabulary. You don't need to learn various grammars. Just practice based on the vocabulary that you already have. If anyone's starting for TOEIC, please stop now. But this is what I really want to say to you. Now you know what is the English skill you need to work abroad. But you know what? There are so many people who don't take action. I think you're really missing your opportunity. I really wonder why you don't take action. Seriously, this is just missing opportunities. Even if you work in Japan in the future, your salary will not increase that much. You already understand this fact, don't you? If your salary is still around 4 million yen, even if you continue to work in Japan for the future, your salary will only go up to 5 to 6 million yen at the most. But when you go work abroad or work for an international company, it's not a dream to increase your salary 2 times or 3 times. You have a good skills and you work in a Japanese company like a horse and suffer from low wages. I've seen so many people like this. I really think you're missing opportunities. So now you've watched this video so far. If you recognize that you already have a business level English knowledge, you're super lucky. Once you only practice with your current English knowledge, you have a chance to work in a global environment. But even after all that, I told you, many of you may not have the confidence to take action. No, don't worry. Now you're watching this video, which means that there's no doubt you can work abroad. I believe that you're a hardworking person taking your time for this long video. I could do this, so you can do this too. Let's overcome together. Okay, so let me summarize this video. If you want to work abroad, instead of studying for university level English or TOEIC, please practice based on your existing vocabulary. And then you just do practice to paraphrase with simple words. Use a simple sentence structure. Practice pronunciation. After you have completed these 3 things, and then you can start working on more difficult words and grammar. In addition to this video, I also post other videos for those who want to learn English in order to work in a global environment. I think there are very few people who talk about this with the actual experience working overseas and working for an international company. I will continue to post very beneficial information in this channel, so don't miss it. While you're still here, please subscribe to my channel. So thank you very much for watching this video to the end. So please press either the good button or the bad button. If you have any thoughts, please post in the comment. See you next time.